All right, today we're going to look at performance and productivity in a completely new light. Seriously, forget everything you've heard about willpower, about the hustle culture. What if I told you that our ability to get things done, it has less to do with motivation and everything to do with physics? We're going to explore how our capacity to act is really a system, one that's governed by clear, mechanical, and predictable laws. Okay, let's just start right here with this idea because this one quote completely turns our whole concept of being stuck on its head. We usually think of being stuck as a lack of energy, right? Like our cars just run out of gas. But what if it's actually the complete opposite? This is that feeling. I mean, we've all felt this, right? It's that awful sense of being frozen, where you are putting in a ton of effort, just spinning your wheels, but you're not going anywhere. The big insight here is that this is not a character flaw. It's not you being lazy. It is a purely mechanical problem, a giant silent collision of forces happening inside you.
So, if it's a mechanical problem, then it needs a structural solution. It turns out our ability to act is governed by laws, just like any physical structure in the world. I mean, think about a bridge. A bridge doesn't hold up tons of traffic through sheer grit and determination, right? No, it does it through smart architecture.
See, any structure, like a bridge, is governed by two kinds of limits. First, you've got invariants. These are the non-negotiable laws of physics, like the tensile strength of steel. You can't argue with them. They are what they are. Then you have constraints. These are the voluntary choices, the design decisions, like putting a speed limit on the bridge. They're designed to help us operate safely within those unchangeable invariants.
And this, right here, is the core idea. Our total biological capacity to handle a load, all the stress, the decisions, the tasks we're juggling, that's an invariant. It's a fixed, physical, non-negotiable limit, just like that bridge's maximum weight tolerance. You can't just wake up and will it to be higher.
Okay, so if our capacity is an invariant, a fixed law, then we need to understand the physics that are actually running the show. So let's dive into this model because it's actually surprisingly simple. And once you see it, it's incredibly powerful. So first, we've got to understand our baseline load. Just think of this as all the stuff you're already carrying before you even try to start something new. It's the structural weight of every open loop, every decision you haven't made, every single email sitting there unresolved in your nervous system. So your available capacity is just simple math. It's your total limit, that invariant we were just talking about, minus your current baseline load. That's it. This is the real, actual, usable energy, the bandwidth you have left for anything new right now. Now, this is where it gets really, really cool. Your brain has this subconscious mechanism. You can think of it like a structural safety inspector, and we'll call it the permission gate. And it is constantly below the level of your awareness, running a calculation to decide if it's safe to move forward with a new action. And this is the exact calculation it's running. It subconsciously estimates the predicted cost of any task. And that's not just time and energy, but also risk, complexity, all of it. Now, if that cost is less than or equal to your available capacity, the gate swings open. Action feels effortless. But if the cost is higher, the gate slams shut. That feeling of resistance, of procrastination, that's the gate, hitting the brakes for you. This is pretty much the first governing law of this whole system. What it means is your internal state, your available capacity, is what determines which strategies are even possible for you to execute. You can have the best to-do list, the best plan in the entire world, but if your state can't support its predicted cost, that permission gate is going to stay shut. Your state is the gatekeeper. Strategy just knocks on the door. So why does all this internal physics matter so much, especially right now? Well, it's because of the external environment we are all living in. It's a force that is constantly, relentlessly acting on our internal system. We live in what you could call the acceleration field. Information is coming at us faster and faster. We're shifting contexts every few minutes, and the sheer number of decisions we have to make every day is, well, it's unprecedented. This field is a constant fire hose of new inputs, and every single one adds to our baseline load. I mean, just think about it. In a single hour, your brain gets hit with this relentless stream of demands. It might start with just one simple thing on your screen, but then another thing pops up. Plan dinner. Finish that report. Oh, don't forget that meeting. What was that thing I needed to buy? Each one of these is a brand new open loop, a new piece of structural weight that you now have to carry. And because these things arrive way, way faster than we could ever hope to resolve them, what happens? Our baseline load just skyrockets through the roof and our available capacity completely bottoms out. So here is the most crucial point of all. That feeling of being overwhelmed, it isn't you being weak. You're not broken. It is the flawless, perfect operation of your nervous system acting as a safety valve. It's your permission gate doing its job, accurately reporting that the math no longer works. The load has exceeded your structural tolerance. Now, when we're faced with this kind of intense pressure, our systems are actually really smart. They intelligently adapt in order to survive. And these aren't personality types, by the way. These are just mechanical responses to an overloaded world. First, there's state stabilization. Think of this as coping. These are mechanisms that temporarily reduce the feeling of pressure, but they don't actually change the load. Second, there's scope reduction. This is basically hiding, simplifying our lives to avoid the load. And third, there's structural expansion. This is about actually building an architecture that can carry more load more safely. And that's the only one of the three that actually scales. So how in the world do we achieve this structural expansion? Well, it's not about trying harder. It's about building smarter. And it all starts by correcting a fundamental mistake we make in how we use our own minds. Look, we treat our mind like it's a hard drive, right? We try to make it hold every task, every reminder, every idea. But structurally, that's not what it's for. The mind is a processor. And when you force a processor to act as a storage device, you create massive internal friction. That friction is a huge source of our baseline load. The solution? Get the load out of your head. We move that load into what we can call external containers. And here's what's so interesting. For a container to actually work, for your nervous system to trust it enough to actually let go of the load, it has to have these three properties. It needs a clear boundary, it needs to persist over time, and it has to be predictable. Think of a simple notebook or a really well-designed to-do list app. Okay, let's bring this all home. We're going to get to the final piece of the puzzle, and you'll see how this whole thing builds to a really profound shift in how we think about taking action. Honestly, this part changes everything. We've all inherited this idea that we're basically parked cars, that we're inert objects just sitting there, waiting for a spark of motivation to get us going. This is structurally false. Like the planet we are standing on, you are already hurtling through time and space at an incredible velocity. Your default state is motion. So when we feel stuck, it is not from a lack of energy or a lack of force. The energy is there, but it's being burned up by internal friction. It's being canceled out by those structural brakes being slammed on by the permission gate. So the work isn't to find more motivation. The work is to find and remove the structural friction so the brakes can finally release. So I want to leave you with this one question. The next time you feel that resistance, that inability to move forward on something important, just stop asking yourself what's wrong with your willpower. Instead, ask a better question. What's wrong with the architecture? Where is the friction? How can I lower the load, reduce the predicted cost, and just get out of my own way and allow my natural state of motion to resume?